that actually wasn't the ball we're going to talk about today. That was the RST Hyperdrive. But today, we're going to talk about the Origin EX. This will be my first impressions of this ball. I just drilled it, thrown it for about 4 shots. So we'll learn a little bit about it together. So let me just put in my hit. Throw it from the same spot as the Hyperdrive, and we'll see how different they are. All right, so the Hyperdrive kind of burned up in that area. It is a little lane shined, but it's also a stronger cover than the Origin EX. The Origin EX has a little bit more, probably has a little bit more surface due to it being fresh out of the box, but it's also a lot smoother, as you could tell on that shot. Very, very smooth off the end of the pattern. The Origin EX is a little bit different. It's a really strong core like the Origin, but actually, even though the cover is dull on this one, it's actually a weaker, cleaner cover than the original Origin. So, so a little bit cleaner cover with a really strong core should allow us to use that core to get the ball started without the cover overtaking it and making it hook at our feet. Compared to the Hyperdrive is a little bit cleaner core, so to speak, a little higher RG, makes the core push the ball a little further down lane, but with a stronger cover, which is why we see more back end out of the Hyperdrive when there's enough oil, but also that it kind of stops and rolls out on something like this where there's not quite enough oil. All right, enough talking. Let's throw the Origin EX one more time from in here. And that's how you can really tell it picked up early and kind of went forward, which tells me it's still a little strong in there, but it's also very, very smooth, and that's a little different from these big ASIMs. Kind of reminds me a little bit of something like a gem motion-wise, like that kind of motion category, but with the weaker cover, it's gonna get through the friction a little bit easier, so it's gonna retain energy a little easier. I went a little different layout on this one, like a really low pin. My intention with this ball was to make a ball for the fresh, basically, because a lot of times I feel like the Iron Max, the gems, they just don't quite do it right now for me on the fresh. It's almost like they're a little too strong, so they either roll out or they want to go high. But I can't really use less surface on because the core still wants to make him stop in the wrong spot. So maybe this little weaker cover, cleaner cover with a lower pin, a little weaker layout is going to allow me to play a little bit straighter with that smooth motion, with the big core to still get the ball started, but with the cleaner cover to get it through the friction on the lane when I'm playing like first arrow, second arrow in the track where all the built-in friction is. So throw one more from in here, and then I'm going to show you where I think this ball is really going to shine. So I'm actually going to move 3 left on this one, get a little bit more rounded so you can see the difference. Here you can really tell, like getting a little further in, getting it a little more head oil to work with, getting my hand around it a little bit more, allows it to save energy a little bit easier, but it's still very smooth off the end of the pattern. So to me, that's nice to see. That tells me that I can do a couple of different things with it and it's still going to be very predictable. But where I think this one is going to shine is playing a little bit straighter. So let's move right, throw it a little firmer, and play a little straighter, like I would like to do on the fresh. So this is about 10 boards right of where I was playing. Should be right around second arrow, out to like 5, 6, a little more speed. Alright, a little right, a little firm, but still, you can really tell like it picks up in the mid lane, so it doesn't just shoot through like some of the cleaner balls would do. I think that's due to the stronger core, and it's very smooth off the end of the pattern, so it just doesn't go sideways, which allows me to play a little bit more hold on the fresh when there isn't built-in hold to start. Alright, so same spot. Try to keep it a little bit better on line. That's close. Alright, still a little strong in the friction here. As is, like it's 41 feet, I think it's only like 25 mils, and they oiled it last night. I'm bowling in the morning here, so obviously not a fresh pattern. So still needs a little bit of oil, the Origin EX. I'm sure if I shined it up a little bit, which would look amazing with these colors, I think, it would look pretty good right now. But yeah, let's actually move another 3 right, firm it up even more. I think we're gonna see something really cool. Ooh, almost at the messenger there. Again, this is my first impression, so obviously I'm gonna learn more about this ball, but I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. It's not going sideways off the friction. It's allowing me to play right on top of the friction. If I miss right, it still picks up enough to kind of get back to the pocket. But it's still smooth enough to where if I miss in, it's not gonna go through the face. It's gonna lay off. So I can play pretty close on top of the friction with some speed and not really have to worry about it going sideways. Couldn't get the messenger. Let's try one more from the same spot. That's really good. That was a pinch firmer and just rolled it off my hand a pinch stronger to get it to roll off the back end a little bit harder. Looks really good. I'm pretty excited. I know it hasn't been like just strike, but I'm really excited about what I'm seeing here. This feels like it's gonna give me an option on the fresh that I don't currently have, and then I'm kind of missing. So let's get a little bit, let's move a little further right again. So further right, firmer, really straight. Yeah, and then it hooks too early at that spot. That's probably, on this pattern, that's probably the highest friction spot you can find. If I get further right than that, it's probably actually gonna be a little lower friction just due to the topography. But right there, it hooks a lot, and I probably need a much weaker ball to play there, but good to know. So let's move a little bit left again. Still fairly straight, but slow down a little bit. Oh. And that's a really good sign, I think, because there's right, it still picks up, it still comes off of it, but it doesn't get to the friction early and go high because it just goes sideways early on. It doesn't shoot through it and miss the head pin because it's too clean. It just kind of picks up and rolls off of it. So it's looking like it's going to be a really nice control ball without it being as strong as a gem or an Iron Max kind of ball. Yeah, just really nice and smooth rolls out of it. As first impression goes, this is not looking too bad. Like, I like to see it on something a little bit longer, a little more volume. Just with the amount of friction that there is in this center, I think just the core in itself is a little too strong here in general. So a little longer panel, a little more oil probably is going to help this look even better. But I do expect this to be really good early on when I'm playing straighter, and super excited about throwing this one some more. And I'll probably do another video when on a little bit more volume, where we can test it out and see what it's capable of on something that's a little tighter, probably a little bit better suited for this strong of a core. But let's finish off a couple more shots. So last one went light, so I can probably, because it doesn't want to go sideways, I can probably move a little right when I go light. That was slow. That was slow. So still a lot of friction here. All right, let's finish off with a strike here. I think I'm gonna play this ball as I think it will play best. I'm gonna move, gonna stay in that same spot where it just went high. I'm just gonna keep it in the oil more. And because of how smooth it is, it won't go, it will just lay there and not go high. Exactly what I mean. Like ball like the hyperdrive or anything that's more responsive would get to that spot where my angle's a little bit more close, and it would go high, it would hook too much, be too responsive. But the Origin EX kind of stays there and just rolls forward and actually goes through the pins really well from that spot. So that's what I was looking for, and looks like that's what I got. So that's a good compliment to my arsenal, and I'll do another video with the Origin EX, a little bit more in-depth ball review. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out Coolwick if you like any of the jerseys I wear or any of my personal jerseys, and use code TLarsen10 for a little discount. And yeah, see you in the next video.